cover first verses 3 to 7. And this is, in my understanding, context. Now, God is talking about Canaanites. Okay, so verses 3 to 7, chapter 12. For truly the old inhabitants of your holy land, hating them because they practice detestable works of enchantments and unholy rites, merciless slaughters of children, and sacrificial banquets of man's flesh and of blood. This is already insane. The latter part, banquets of man's flesh and of blood, just reminds me of Genesis 6 and of the Enochian tradition of the giants. When they couldn't find food anymore, they turned out to kill and eat people. And it's interesting how the author mentions now in chapter 12 of a Book of Wisdom about Canaanites, merciless slaughter of children. Merciless, because as we know, they were sacrificing children to their fallen god Moloch, right? They were putting on these burning statues, idol statues, and children will be burned and therefore dedicated to their fallen god Moloch. So again, merciless slaughters of children and sacrificial banquets of man's flesh and of blood, allies in an impious fellowship, and murderers of their own helpless babes. It was your counsel to destroy by the hands of our fathers. Sometimes people, believers or skeptics, but mostly skeptics, they see God in the Old Testament as very cruel and almost merciless, very judgmental, as a bully. But I mean, if you're honest with yourself, as much as the author of Wisdom, Book of Wisdom was, God had to simply step into history and say, no more. I will have to punish you for your sin. And remember, God gave them 400 years to repent for practicing idolatry, doing the occult, sacrificing babies. So God had to come. And why God had to intervene? So not just to prevent the slaughter of the innocent ones, but it also says in verse 7 that the land which in your sight is most precious of all might receive a worthy colony of God's servants. So God was preparing the land for his people, right? When theocracy is about to be established. So this is verses 3 to 7. We're sticking to same chapter now, verses 23 to 27. Okay. Why also the unrighteous that lived in folly of life you tormented through their own abominations? For truly they went astray very far in the ways of error, taking as gods those animals which even among their enemies were held in dishonor, showing you that Canaanites were more evil and more wicked than other pagan, godless civilizations of that time. And they were deceived like foolish babes. Therefore, as to unreasoning children, you sent your judgment to mock them. But those who would not be admonished by a mocking correction as of children will experience a judgment worthy of God. For through the sufferings they were indignant of, being punished in these creatures, which they supposed to be gods. So the heathens, the pagans of those days, and I think history is repeating, they see creation as divine. They think of themselves as divine. They see, they call the planet Mother Earth and almost see it as some form of a goddess. But also people in this time see these creatures as gods with small g, right? They saw and recognize as the true God, him whom they refused to know. So at the end, when God punished them and stepped in, they saw that there's God of gods. There's the true God with capital G. Therefore, also the result of condemnation came upon them.